you so much for joining, sir. It's a pleasure having you. We have
Yeah,
Dr. Rajiv with us, a very eminent personality, professor and former director at Chennai Mathematical Institute. It's a real honor to have you talking today, sir.
thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. Anything for guiding students.
Great, sir. Great, sir. So let me straight away jump into the core point that we want to discuss today. That is, you see now so much has changed probably from last November with Gen AI, Open AI, coming to the picture, and post that there's been drastic changes. Every month there's a change, right? We see new developments that are happening in the industry, and subsequently we also hear a lot of companies laying off people and all of that. So with this, so much of developments happening around the world, especially with technology and science and all of that, where do you see the academia keeping itself in pace with this latest developments?
Now, when we talk about academia, I classify it in two aspects. One is as far as their own research, pursuing whatever they have done and would like to do, how does that move on? That is one aspect. The other aspect that academia should be concerned about is about teaching or about training students. Okay. Again, the small group which may continue with academics is a different group, but a large number would like to take up jobs, and their expectations have gone up. And how does the academia respond to that? So, as far as the first one is concerned, um I think academia can firstly be aware of what the changes are. If they continue to just do what they have been doing, some things will be of interest, and some may no longer be of interest. Some of the questions people have pursued, okay, because they could be easily answered directly. Some, I'm not saying large, but especially theoretical sciences or experimental sciences, these two, I don't think Gen AI or Chat GPT or any of the others is going to dramatically change. What will change is social science, how people interact with each other. That is where there is a big change. And researchers working in those areas have to be even extra alert. So, theoretical science or experimental science, some changes, but not that much. But people should be aware. If they continue to pretend that nothing has changed, the world is the same, then there is a problem. Okay, that's one. Uh, but the bigger question is about the how do we deal with students? What uh, how to make them prepared for the changing scenario, the changing picture across. And that is what is fast changing every 5 years. And yeah, last 6 months has been, but it's, I think, just that more people are become aware. Earlier, people were aware, but now more people are aware that now uh, few things in jobs. What is happening is company layout, etc., was because the lot of people who so-called became graduates in engineering, that zero engineering background. Okay, the I think the software engineer as a term, okay, was a misnomer. Doing coding is different from doing engineering, number one. Okay, if you understand the theme and there is an engineering problem which you are solving via software, it's one thing. But just learning some software language, one, that too. So most students over last 30 years in India, they mastered one theme and then took up a job, and there was enough to do and they could get a very good job. That has changed and is changing every day and is changing dramatically. I mean, unfortunately, uh, there were some who kept the other options open by or kept themselves aware of whatever else is happening around the globe in addition to what they were doing. They can cope up more easily, but those who were just focusing on one, will find it difficult to, once they are, if they lose their job, what they will do later is a question that is very, very difficult to answer. If because it's clear they don't need such a large army of people to do coding, right? Uh, but coding means somebody tells you that this is what you have to do, and you sit and write the code. That job is completely taken over by the recent developments with whatever is happening. Okay, computing power and recent developments. But uh, what we used to call a word problem. You start with a word problem, formulate it appropriately, and then solve it. That aspect, well, I can't say it will not be done. Some of this is trying to be done, but you would never know is it right or wrong. What it is done by ChatGPT, right? So that aspect, at least for some time, it is very difficult to predict future. But for some time, that aspect at least is available. Understanding fresh thinking and what is sometimes called back testing. Namely, okay, here is a problem. You run it on ChatGPT, you run it on Gemini, you run it on various other tools which are available. Uh, Firstly, if they are differing with each other, already that's alert. Okay. Which one? Even if they are agreeing with each other, tweak the question a little bit. Okay. You know that the answer should be similar. Are you getting the same answer? Okay. So people have to adapt and change. Uh, if so, this way validation, etc., etc., what you can do just sitting on a desk offline with no data, whatever data you have got, you're feeding it in, and based on that, getting answers. One can try this. Once you are satisfied that various tools are giving you comparable, if not the same answers, with varied questions, then you have to think whether it is the right answer or not. Now, for that, either you know the domain or interact with a domain person and try to see if at least some dummy data are real, but sure, small than what is the whole data that you have fed. Does it make sense, etc., etc. So, uh, some validation or back testing, whatever phrase people are comfortable with, that is a must. Uh, then there is a deeper question. That is where the what I would call statistical thinking. I'm not talking the phrase statistics. I'm calling the phrase statistical thinking. Okay, just because there is some large data on a given theme doesn't necessarily mean that data analysis is going to throw you the right answer. And one can pick up any number of examples, historical also, and I have given talks on this theme, so I don't want to repeat that. But I can share at the end a link to some of the either a talk or video PDF where people can see that how entirely sticking to just because there is large data, it doesn't mean it is going to reveal the truth. It may not be the whole truth. Okay, you have to so the domain and understanding the domain is extremely important. The simplest example is you have, let's take the IIT JEE. Now that has been going on for a large number of years. You have not easily accessible, but if you interact with all the IITs, it should be possible to get hold of all the historical data on IIT JEE marks, let's say. Okay, and relative ranks of marks of all selected, non-selected, all. Non-selected, let's forget. Selected ones, at least you focus. Then you get their thing about their performance in the 4 years or 5 years that they studied in IIT. At the end, what were their scores? Okay, so input, and now we have the output. Now the people have written on this, people have talked about it, and people have found that the correlations are very poor.
Okay.
The toppers may know, may be even at the bottom half, maybe, or maybe in the second quarter, not even in the top quarter, maybe. So, and if you look at the decile first, decile changes, top 10%, next 10%, next, it just mixes up completely. Okay.
Okay.
Now, there are people who have argued, therefore, IIT JEE is bogus and it is not serving the purpose. Now, this conclusion is wrong because, firstly, you assume that by being at IIT for 5 years, nothing has changed. I mean, people may lose interest. Somebody who was not so sharp can become sharp also. And even if we ignore this, there are other statistical aspects which are there, very much there. Assume that you take the top 10%, you are, after 6 months, after 3 months, you conduct another exam comparable. Now look at their rankings. You will be surprised. Okay. And there is a statistical theme about this, nothing that I have discovered. Okay. But this will surprise many people that after all, we have a large number of data, even number of candidates selected in IIT is maybe 7, 8,000 today. If all of them are administered a test 3 months after they joined IIT and try to compare their marks, we will see what happens. Okay. So that is what I meant, that there are statistical thinking behind that, and ignoring that, just saying that so large data, therefore it has to be right, can lead to wrong conclusions.
Conclusions.
Then a lot depends on what are you going to do with the conclusions. If the impact is minor, okay, it can be easily corrected, it's one thing. But if it's major, okay. So, so this is those who are having the jobs. Now let's move towards people who are students today. Okay. And the academicians will find it harder to change, take longer to change. But students, I mean, somebody who is joining today or had joined a year or two ago, their time scale is 2 years or 3 years. They have a job market to go to right away. What happens to them? And that is where the important part is, that they should uh, firstly become aware that just because earlier this much of understanding what is being taught to them get fetch them very, very good jobs, very good salary, they can't assume that that is going to continue. And how do they adapt? And that is where uh, uh, broadly, I mean, you may not, by you, I mean a student, may not necessarily land up a job in one particular domain, but nothing wrong in preparing one or two domains. Try to figure out where are the jobs. Try to read about those domains. Understand. At least 10 years ago, one could have heard such phrases that, I don't need to learn all that. I'm just a data scientist. They would not be, the phrase was not data scientist, but I'm just going to look at data, or I'm only a coding person. People will feed me the question and I will solve it. That's it. What happens, why, all that is not my botheration. But now they have to start thinking about that. So so some way or the other, most jobs get related to one is finance domain, large number of jobs. You want, and broader mathematical theme, what can be called optimization. You maximize profit, you minimize expenses, uh, and some kind of what can be formulated as a linear programming problem. You have supply demand thing, you have supply chains, what item you send from where to where, and the cost involved. Okay. So at least at that broad level, if students get themselves prepared, they don't have to solve a problem. They have to understand what these questions are, try to look at what literature is available, talk to each other, talk to I mean, use the chat GPT and Gemini to ask these questions and get some answers. Okay. And what to study, what to read. So they have to become aware of these domain specific understanding. Okay. Without that, just engineering training is not going to lead to a it may get them a job, but no longer what they expected, or just because when they joined IIT, the jobs that people were getting, they may not get. Some will get, because in spite of moving to chat, all these things, you see, just like I am talking, the decision makers are aware of this. This is not that I am telling something new. Okay. So they know where to, I at least hope, they know where to just completely rely on chat GPT, and where to get all that I talked about, validation and understanding all that to be implemented and then done. Okay. So uh, hopefully over time the academics community and the teachers who are teaching the students will become aware of that. The coursework will get modified, they will, but that all takes time because of the system. Any change in curriculum, firstly, those who have already entered, their curriculum is frozen, that cannot be changed. Change, to propose, to discuss, to approve takes time. But immediately the academics, those, not all, but those who are interested can do is, I mean, most colleges have these various other clubs and other activities going beyond just the standard coursework, right? Even if it is not there, they can start such. And in that, make do it jointly with students. The teacher is also learning along with the students, and you say that, we will take up this topic, understand, read, and present, things like that. And presence of a teacher will make it more structured, other than if just group of students get together, it can quickly go off to some other direction. So things like that. So it is not easy to do, but it can be done. And
Yeah. True. I was in fact talking to one of the CEOs, and he was emphasizing on this domain knowledge along with technical knowledge. So he was, suggesting that students, apart from a pure play IT company, to doing internship, they should also parallelly try to get into something domain. For example, say in a hospital, you know, you're doing an internship at an IT company, go to a hospital and do an internship there as well. You'll get a good understanding of how a healthcare functions.
absolutely, absolutely. So, get hold of few such key areas. And whether you do internship, I would say that, parallel to the internship in a IT thing, also one can make visits and just spend a day or two in different domains and try to understand what are the problems they are doing, what is it that might excite you, things like that.
True,
So it is ultra necessary.
true.
Just a pure play IT is no longer going to
Yeah,
be that fancy anymore. That is a reality people have to come with.
yeah, true. And even during my times, just sitting in class and getting good marks was probably enough to get a job. But the situation has changed so much. You will have to get out there, see what are the problems that are there, give your own solution to the
So,
problems.
so you may have written, what is your time? When did you finish?
I finished in 2005 my engineering.
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
Okay.
a long
So
time.
you're talking 20 years ago. That's
Yeah.
ancient, man. I mean, no, even 5 years ago, that is what students believed. That
Hmm.
where is the problem? I am the topper,
Hmm.
right? So that's why I asked you what is the time frame.
Yeah.
Even 5 years ago, and but the things have been changing, and I have been this what I'm telling you today is not a new thought. I mean, I think about 7 or 8 years ago, at CMI we launched the data MSc data science program. Probably we were the first ones to have a formal masters in data science in India, as far as I know. Okay, because various rules and regulations, etc., etc. It was chance event. Something happened which triggered us that we could present and get a quick approval and launch it. Okay. Uh, so we had some courses involving pure math as well, analysis and linear algebra, and we are teaching theorem proof. So also, not the only ones, few courses. So actually, I was teaching that, and some students did not exactly challenge. They said, "Sir, isn't this data science program? Why are you teaching us theorem and proof?" So I had given these answers even then. So it's not a new thought, and I had not anticipated that the things will move so fast. But uh, the way I was putting them to that is that, okay, if not today, tomorrow, various other places will turn up data science program. What will a person differentiate between you all who have been training here and somewhere else? That you have to have a little bit beyond what is just standardly what is being invoked for which will get you a job today. I mean, simple thing that it goes with the coding time. It was taking longer. Now the chat GPT may present right away. But suppose you are a CEO, you have some problem, you believe, yeah, this is simple enough. You run chat GPT, you implement that somewhere, and you get your client saying that, no, this is not working. Now what? How do you handle such a scenario? You have done the best that the data could do. And this is the problem I posed our students, that this is where you will come in. I told them that you will get a much higher salary than others. Okay, partly it could be the name of the institution, partly it could be your performance in the interview, but that will just be the starting point. And because you are getting a higher salary in the team than others, you will be the first one to be asked. Then you cannot say that, why me? There are 20 of us sitting here. Why me? The answer will be very simple, because you have been hired with a higher expectation. So be prepared. Okay. So and not everything can be digested and be in your memory, and nobody cares about that anymore. No, I mean, you can, if somebody can figure out where to look for answer and how to understand, how to read what is written, and I told them that's where the math language comes you helpful. If you think that the word theorem and proof throws you off, saying अरे वो बहुत पुराना हो गया है, then documents you will not be able to read. The people have all that may be known, but your the mind cannot digest it. So that's where I tell the students that what we teach in class is not just what we teach, but how to understand. Even if you accept, even if you are given some document, how do you digest what is written? Okay?
I think in
Things like that.
starting the MSc in data science course, you were a visionary. You were thinking ahead of the time. So I think we need more visionaries like you, sir.
Oh,
Who
there are more. There are more. The question is, people may not be listening to them. How to listen to them? How to understand what they are saying? Also, maybe expressing one's thought this with a little bit clarity. Maybe see, academicians are. By the way, I used to be in that role at least till 15 years after my PhD also. I didn't care to talk to anybody outside academics. Then only we can talk about weather, we can talk about other, what food you like, what movies you like. Beyond that, I had nothing to do with the rest of the world. Okay. After that, things changed, and I got involved with what can be called applied work. And but I kept one foot on the theory as well, and one foot on the applied work, and that has given me a wider way of thinking, understanding the world, and that has helped.
Yeah, I think
There are others, but
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think that is how all the leaders in the academic space, the principals, the HODs, in fact, the professors need to think. One foot on the theoretical aspect, another one on the applied work. One of it,
I
right?
mean, I tell people, yet you don't have to do theory needed for the applied work. You understand the applied problem, translate it into a thing which we can find, and then either you find it in the literature, get some students to do it, get some group to do it. You don't have to, but do it yourself. But at least understanding this, translating, and that will broaden the vision of the academics also. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very important message from your side, sir. I think if an academician is watching this video, later, this is the key message I would say. And for the students, sir, how, what do you think about having a mentor? Do you think it will make any difference in choosing the right course, right college, right career, etc.?
Yes, it does, because firstly, you the if a, for example, if a student could be towards the end of the schooling years, or could be having chosen a course towards the end of that course and is thinking about what to do next, the thoughts are garbled, thoughts are mixed up. Okay, uh, for everybody, for everybody. Okay. Now, if you are told that so and so is going to mentor you, and obviously you don't have infinite time, you have some fixed time that you are going to be talked to. So you have to, a student who wants to extract the best will have to think what to say. Just that thinking will clarify the thought. Okay. And instead of 10 possible options, the students themselves could zero it down to two or three likes, dislikes, all that. And then the mentor can guide them into which one may suit you more. Some things the student may not have thought can be thought. Also, the mentor can suggest what else to read, something that now a whole lot of things are available on the internet, but you search something, you will get 20 documents. Now which one should you read, and which one is valid and which one is hoax? How do you differentiate that, right? With what is being called the WhatsApp university saying 100 things, right? So so I think that is where the mentor can that help or guide that which career may be suitable for you, for by you I mean a student, and and how to progress or how to pursue that. What may be missing in the training or understanding of the candidate to make up for that gap. So you see the helping, uh, and it's nothing me in particular, but various people in academics can give their personal anecdotes as to how uh, some students could be a nephew, niece, or nephew, niece of a friend or a friend's friend, and somebody refers, they talk, and you clarify, and not everybody gets back to you, but some of them write after 10 years, after 15 years, that, oh, we had talked at that time and that helped in clarifying this thought, that thought. This is common occurrence. Okay.
Yeah,
So it definitely helps. It definitely helps. And but one has to structure it properly. Okay. Uh, and ideally, some written questionnaire, okay, or written information, background of the candidate, if that is made available to the mentor, then in quick time they can come down to the main point rather than everything being discovered orally. That can be done, but that requires a lot more time and depends on, like if it's a nephew or niece of a friend, I can just start afresh and spend one whole evening chatting. But if you have to mentor a group of people, then you may not have the luxury of spending that much time. So that's all. That's about, yeah.
yeah. So one parallel that if I can think of is a success of a startup. Also depends on its mentor, right? The
Yeah.
founder, the kind of mentor that the founder gets, that it truly defines how the startup is going to take its shape. If that important a mentorship is for a startup who which has a founder who's got a lot of experience, probably imagine a 16, 17-year-old student who doesn't have too much of a worldview. They're just glued to their books and things like that. Mentorship is critical, very, very important.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
you have to focus on the right questions
Correct.
and the right things to read and follow.
Right, sir. Right. With this, I would like to thank you so much, sir. I think whatever you said today. Of course, it's not too much in detail, but I wish visionaries like you, uh, you know, uh, are not just limited to one institute where your ideas or thoughts are utilized, but it needs wider expansion throughout the country, because the number of students that are there in India, number of colleges that are there in India, all these ideas are really, really needed. And I really hope that academics, colleges, as well as students seek out your help and guidance as well, sir.
I'm very glad to be of help.